because Best Buy was down as much as 15, 16% early on. Shares falling despite the fact that they did beat estimates. And they increased their dividend, actually, Pete, even though they only increased the dividend by 1%. Still, you're giving money to complete strangers, as Warren Buffett would say. But the CEO, Matt Belfus, Bolinas, he came out, Pete, and he said, consumer behavior is resilient, but he worries that inflation is going to curb their appetite for some of the products that Best Buy sells. And for that reason, the slump we see in the stock today.
Yep, no doubt about that. But they also talked about the second half of the year being that half of the year is where Best Buy really does shine, John. And it makes a lot of sense because as you get a little bit closer and you start getting into the second half of the year, obviously we get around to that point in time where Apple's got all the new product launches and all of that type of thing. And this is an area where they do much better. They also have the holidays. They've got Thanksgiving. They got Black Friday. They got Christmas. They've got all of that stuff. So they're looking for the second half. Now, there are some pretty big shorts in here, John, somewhere between 7 and 9% on the short side. So are they right today? Sure. But I think you've got to look forward a little bit and start thinking about how this stock might start to move as we get closer to August and then getting near that September date where we're getting into the second half of the year. That's where Best Buy shines. We'll see if they shine this year. But in the past, that has been the spot where you really do want to own Best Buy.
Yep. And it's always, Pete, always been a story of, their Super Bowl is Q4. Yep. And they beat, just like we said. But then they kind of hit the doldrums for a bit. People aren't upgrading TVs for the Super Bowl. They're not getting presents for Christmas in the next quarter and so forth and so on. So Best Buy tends to be the soft quarter, at least this first one, after they report the great quarter that they did just report.